Welcome, my name's Tom Pearce. I'm currently the acting principal of Aspendale Primary School. I'm usually the assistant principal. Our principal, Kobe Larry, is on long service leave at the moment. This is a place that I've been at for a long time. Believe it or not, in 2007 I had my first class in this classroom. It was a grade 2 classroom. So I've been here for a while. It's a lovely place to be, and so we'd like to welcome you if your family is joining us for the first time, and also welcome to our families who their next child is joining us. And we hope that you feel a long connection to our school as well. Thank you to you for coming along this evening. It's another investment in the continued partnership between your child in our school and your family in our school. Thank you to our foundation team for their preparation for this evening and for coming along, and thank you also to Amelia, who will pop back in. She's the person who greeted you. She's the other assistant principal at our school, and she'll talk to us a little bit as well this evening. At our school, at events, meetings and assemblies, we take the time to acknowledge country. So Aspendale Primary School is situated on the lands next to the seas and below the skies of the Bunurong people, with Mordialloc Creek making the northern border of the Bunurong land. So I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the Bunurong people, the members of the Kulin Nation, as the traditional custodians of the land, seas and skies that we're meeting upon this evening, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend those respects to other members of Indigenous or Torres Strait Islander communities who may be joining us. So welcome to our school. It's great to have you all here this evening. I can see some familiar faces of families whose children already attend our school, and I can see faces of families who we've either toured or met you during the enrolment process, and we're looking forward to your family joining our school. For all of your children, it's going to be a special time at the start of next year when for the first time they walk through our school gates as foundation students and joining our Aspendale Primary School community as students. It's a special time for your family. It's a special time for our school as we get to know your child. Our youngest daughter, Elsie, she's starting school next year as well. And I know in our house, potentially similar to yours, there's lots of excitement. She's talking about wearing her school uniform, getting to hang out with the same place as her older sister all day, getting to see what the teachers get up to and getting to make new friends. But she's also got some other things on her mind, like what am I going to do if I've got no one to play with? What about if I miss you all day, Mum and Dad, and all the other things going through her mind. And we keep telling her that's normal, just like it's normal for your children as well. They're about to embark on an exciting adventure, heading off to school with us. It's another stage in an exciting adventure of their life. And as a school, we're keen to work with you to help them transition across to be members of our school community. Part of that is this evening, part of that is our upcoming transition sessions that Lucy will talk about, but it's also the communication that's already going on and will continue to go on between your family and the school, so we can work together to get off to a great start and then keep communicating as your child moves through our school so they can have all the opportunities to grow and learn with us. The other bit is where you just walk past is where Amelia and my offices are, and it's a really privilege to have our offices there because we actually get to see the foundation students every day. We try and have our doors open as often as possible, and we get visitors all through the day. The kids come in, we get to say hello to them, but the bit that's really lovely, especially at this time of the year, is we've now seen them for a year and we've watched them grow as people but also as learners, and then as they start to move through the school, that connection keeps going. And it's something that we really like to have at our school, is that connection between our school community. So your child has their own teacher, but the rest of the foundation team knows them, leadership team knows them, and as they move through the school, the rest of the staff get to know them, and our foundation team keep an active interest in the kids as they move through the school. This is our agenda for this evening. Hopefully this will help to answer some of the questions you may have leading into school. And just looking there with the sun, is that all right there, Dan, or is that no good? Because we can move the screen slightly. Let us know if it changes, because it seems over this side is more shade, so we can change things if we need to. This is the agenda for this evening. Different members of our team will speak through different parts. When we get to the end, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask in the forum, or also if you want to come up and ask individually after, we'll be around. The other bit is all the slides and what we're saying over the top of them will be sent out to you over the coming days. So if things come up or you miss things, feel free to go back and have a look. We have had feedback from families in the past that it's been handy to have the presentation. They've skipped to the bit about whatever they were wondering about, even some of the parts to show their kids if they were worried about different bits. So that's me up the top. Amelia Bustle was our assistant principal. She's over at the door. Lucy Warner's our foundation leader and also our transition leader this year, so you probably already heard from Lucy with some emails. Freeman Smith and Chloe Stubbs are two of our foundation teachers, and Zoe Richards is also one of our foundation teachers, so she's not able to be here this evening. I'm going to hand over to Lucy now, who'll talk through the transition part.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy.
We are very excited to welcome your children on site starting next Tuesday for their transition program. So we've met some of the children if they attend at Aspendale North, Nola Barber or Bonkers so far. So it'll be nice to see some of those faces again, but we'll also pop down to some of the other kindergartens if your children go to other ones. So starting next Tuesday, I'll send this through an email as well, but the children have been allocated a group colour. There'll be 3 groups, and we'll have a sign near the front office to see which group colour your child's in. We'll then have some flags on the grass here, and we just ask you to walk your child over to the flag with some of the Year 5 leaders will be Year 6 leaders next year, along with these staff who will be around. So your child will stay with the same group each week. However, they'll have a different teacher for each week, which is a really great opportunity for them to get to know a range of teaching staff at the school. So we'll have the same routine and format each session, where we'll start with the coloured flag on the grass, mark the roll, walk into one of the foundation classrooms, and then we'll exit out of this door, and we're just going to ask all the children to sit down with their teacher, and then they can put their hand up when they've seen their allocated adult, because it could be an auntie one week, a grandparent the next, and when we've got that visual confirmation they've seen who they know is picking them up, we'll be able to dismiss them. So your children can wear a uniform, the school uniform, if they've already purchased it, but they're also welcome to wear casual attire. The other question that most people start asking at this time of the year is, when will I know my child's teacher for next year and their classmates? So thank you to the people who have already submitted their friendship requests for 2024. We definitely take that into account. And we try to place each child with at least one of their nominated friendships. So Monday the 11th of December is the date to add to your diary, as this is when you'll receive an email from your classroom teacher for 2024, and there'll be a social story for your children to read, showing photos of all the classrooms and the teachers, and a special welcome letter for them. And this will be followed by our foundation orientation morning on Tuesday the 12th of December. So your children are invited to come in from 9:30 to 10:30, where they'll go to their classroom for 2024. And then their buddies will come and join at the end of that session. And then we'll all move to either the courtyard or the hall, depending on the weather. And parents and carers are invited to return for this part of the session. It's a really nice community event where you'll get to meet other families starting, along with your child's buddies for next year. So in terms of preparing your child for school, like Tom said, it might be your first child to come to school, or your second or third, or it might have been a while since you had a child that started foundation. So the next part of the session is just going to expand upon the information that was in the handbook that I've emailed out to you, but it's also can be found on the school website. So the first 4 weeks of school looks a bit different for foundation compared to our year 1 to 6 students. This year in particular is a little bit different. So our first day of school will be the Thursday, the 1st of February. However, the Tuesday and the Wednesday have been set aside for our government assessments, which I'll go into in a moment, along with the rest days on the Wednesday. So it's a modified timetable for the first few weeks of school, with school commencing full-time on Monday the 4th of March. So on these Wednesdays and that Tuesday, the children will come in for one-off assessment, and this is on a one-to-one basis with the child's teacher. So parents don't need to attend, they can just drop off at the cafe or do whatever you need and then come back. So when you find out who your child's teacher is, you'll also get a link to book one of the dates mentioned on the other side, and that's already been communicated to you. So these assessments are really important. It's mandatory that we complete them for the government, but it also gives us really important information so that we can tailor our teaching and learning program to your children and their needs. So this is our starting point of information, but we gather data over a range of assessment tools across the year to monitor your child's progress and to set goals and to communicate to you where they're at. So it's just really important to know there's nothing you need to prep for over summer or whatever level of knowledge your children come in with. It's just important that we know that. And as we all know, children develop at different rates, have different strengths and goals, and we'll go with that for our teaching and learning program. So just to reiterate, all those dates have been communicated to you in the documents, but that was just an explanation of what they mean. So Freeman's now just going to go through some general information about starting school.
Thanks, Lucy. Thank you. So, as Lucy just said, first day of school will be Thursday the 1st of February next year. Just a bit of an outline of the first day of school, and this will kind of continue on these times and everything throughout the year. So, first kind of point is the music will start to go at about 8:55 or 8:57, and that's where the students can come and line up outside the classrooms just out here. You're more than welcome to come into the classroom that first morning. We'll have some activities set up, and you can take some photos of your children and just help them play along with their activities. And after about 10 minutes, I guess, probably time to go out just to leave the kids to us and say goodbye as well. So, and I think afterwards you can organise to go to the cafe or something like that after you see your kids off and have a catch up with some other people. So our school days, kind of the way the timetable works, kind of comprised of 6 50-minute sessions. So there's 2 at the start of the day from 9 till 10:40. Then they have a recess break from 10:40 to 11:10 for half an hour. And then 2 more sessions, learning sessions in the middle of the day, followed by a lunch break, which goes for an hour, 12:50 to 1:50. And then 2 sessions at the end of the day, and finishing up at 3:30. Just for the first 2 weeks, we will be dismissing the Children Foundation kids at about 3:25, just to get them kind of out without the crowd of the rest of the school finishing. So just make sure that you're kind of here. We'll dismiss them and make sure you're here just before 3:30. Just a couple of other things. Fruit snack we'll have at 9:45, so it's fruit or vegetables if you have them cut up or whatever. They can have a kind of a brain break and fruit snack at that time. It's about 5 to 10 minutes in the classroom. Just before recess, so at about 10:30, we'll have a snack eating in the classroom as well. We're trying to avoid eating outside because of food wastage and litter and pigeons. We've got a pigeon problem. And then lunch break as well will just be 10 minutes before 12:50, so 12:40 to 12:50 as well. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the area out here is where the foundation students will actually play for the year. So you've got the junior playground, they're kind of not allowed at the front of the school, prep playground, and there's a running track out there, sandpit, and yeah, it's up to the bubble taps at the end there if they need a drink. So pick up and drop off arrangements. So we've got yard duty teachers that come out at before school at 8:45 to 9, so 15 minutes before school starts. So we try and advise you not to bring, or you can bring children if you're going to hang around with them before that, a little bit before that, but if you're dropping them off, try not to come before 8:45 in the morning. And same thing after school as well, 3:30 to 3:45 we'll have a teacher out in all the areas, okay, well, obviously out here with the foundation students. So students are dismissed by the classroom teacher, and they always check that there's somebody there to pick them up. We don't just let them run off. So, last point too, there's a bike shed also on the oval, so if you're planning on riding, there's also a scooter rack next to the gym as well. So we obviously encourage you to walk or ride or scoot, but if you can't, just be aware that it can get very congested out here just before 9 o'clock, so it's sometimes a little bit tricky to park. So just talking about communication now, so there's a couple of different ways that we communicate with you through school. The main way is through our central app, which you just download. That's used to send you notifications, important news, and reporting and assessment information as well. We've also got weekly emails, so in Foundation we'll send out an email that kind of outlines all our learning that we're doing for the week, any important dates and things that are going on. And we've also got a quicker app which is, as of next year, just going to be used for the canteen. So this year it's used for payments and things, but that will be transferred over to Central as well next year. So. And just a little bit more about the communication. So our semester and continuous reports, as I just said, come out on Central. So you'll see semester reports at the end of Term 2 and Term 4, where you get some information about the students' progress, their personal learning, progression points, so where they're at with the curriculum, what level they're at, how they're going. We also have the school send out a weekly e-news newsletter, so that again will give you a bit more about what's happening kind of in the school, any important dates and information like that. Student-led conferences we have mid-year, so over here, and that's where you kind of get the chance to sit down with your child and go through some of their learning, look at some of their books, discuss what they've been doing, and it's also a chance to talk to your teacher at the end of that session as well. It's a bit of it like a parent-teacher interview at the end. And obviously feel free to chat to your child's teacher at any time. The door's always open. You can make an email if you can't catch up with us, or just see us after school or before school. We can organise a meeting or anything like that. So. Uniform requirements. So we go through reliable uniforms. You probably had a look in the booklet already. Our point of contact is Rachel Reeves. So if you need any information about uniforms for next year, you can just contact her. Just with the uniform requirements, we obviously require them in school uniform the whole time. If there's some issue and they can't wear a certain type of uniform, just email your child's teacher. Also, at the start of the year, Term 4 and the last 2 weeks of Term 3, that we have the Sun Smart policy in place, so you need to wear hats. That's really important for the start of next year. With shoes, we obviously require closed-toe shoes. So make sure that they come with those. Any kind of shoes, okay, as long as it's closed-toe. And with the curriculum contributions, so it's money received by the school, that will cover stationery items and anything the kids need in the classroom, like books, pencils, anything like that. So we just recommend obviously naming all of your uniform as well, going back to that before I forget, because that really helps. They do lose a lot of things, especially at the start of the year. Even now they're still losing a lot of things. So it's really handy to have their names on everything as well. So yeah, that money will come in, that will cover any of those stationery items, so you don't need to go out and buy anything extra for your kids for next year.
And just adding to that, like the teachers will name all the books and sort it, so that's not something that has to be done. It's all sent to the school and organised on their end.
Yep. All right. Okay. Parent participation. So if you're interested in helping out in the class with your child and with their learning, with the other kids in the class as well, and some of the other classrooms as well, kids. That happens from Term 2 next year. So we let the kids kind of get settled in for the first term, and then if you want to come in from term 2, there's a few different ways you can help out with the classroom program. Through the learning, the different activities we have. We'll send out kind of a Google Doc and ask for anyone who wants to volunteer. Things like excursions, you can come and help. Our P&P program, which is perceptual motor program, that's kind of dealing with their gross motor skills and balance and coordination activities. So we'll run that, and they're always looking for help in the canteen if anyone has time as well, so that's much appreciated. Yeah, we use your help to support all of the kids in the classroom, not just obviously your own child. I know you want to come in and see what they're doing and everything, but yeah, it's for everyone in the class as well, and us as well, which helps us out. So just down the bottom, we do need a current working with children check if you're planning on coming in and helping, and we also run an induction course, which goes for about 30 minutes, I think. So it's just something you come in and watch a video and make sure you've gone through that and you understand the requirements of coming in to the class. So co-curricular activities, we run a few different things throughout the school on top of their schooling that they come to. So there's lunchtime clubs. Because we run lunchtime, it goes for an hour. It is quite a long time, especially for the kids at the start of the year. So after probably a couple of weeks, letting them getting settled and making friends and things like that, we'll start to run some clubs at lunchtime. So lots of different teachers run different types of clubs. It might be a Lego club, like it says, colouring club, anything. There's a vegetable garden club. There's lots of different things. So we'll let the kids know what clubs are, who the teachers are that are running them, and when they're on as well. So that's something that helps them out in the lunchtime. There's an instrumental program, so I think they run things like drumming sessions and other musical instruments, but just go to the office if you are interested in that. And they have a lot of after school activities and things like gymnastics they run over in the old school hall, Lego club, things like that. They have different sports, I think, soccer and football sessions as well. So yeah, just go to the office if you're interested in that. And just lastly, just some more general information. I'll just quickly go through this. So birthday celebrations, obviously kids are having birthdays all the time, so your child's welcome to bring in some kind of little snack if they want to give it, or treat, I guess. We'll sing happy birthday to them. We'll give them to the kids at the end of the day, and then they have to ask the parents or guardians. They can have that after school. So absences, it's kind of to do with the illness as well. So if your child's going to be away, just email the teacher. I think you can also let them know through the central app as well, or you can leave a voicemail at the office, and they'll email us and let us know that your child's going to be away. Let them know what the reason is as well, so we can enter that on our central database. Same thing with late arrivals, early pickups. So if you just go to the office, sign your child in and out of the office, and if you just let the teacher know, so if you just catch us before school or after school for the next day or whatever, or email us, just let us know what the reason is. And canteen days, so Thursday and Friday, so you can just put your order through and pay through the Quicker app. So that's it for the general info. I'm handing over to Amelia now. We're getting ready for foundation.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. My name's Amelia Busuttil. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Aspendale Primary. I didn't ask how to use the clicker. Okay, so we're just going to run through a few, we think, helpful tips about getting ready for starting school next year. So a few of our routine tasks at the school, so including eating breaks, before school starts, practice over the holidays, looking at what's in your lunchbox, what you're going to eat at snack time, what you're going to eat at lunchtime, and what you're going to eat at fruit time. So we do have those 3 different break times or eating times throughout the day. So making sure that they know which items they can eat at which particular time. We do also encourage practicing opening and closing the lunchbox or the containers. They can be quite tricky for little hands. You're probably already aware of that. So just make sure you're practicing that over the summer holidays once you've got your lunch boxes all sorted. Using the toilets independently. Unless, oh, did I press it too far? Might be the user's problem. Using the toilet independently. So obviously here at school we do have gendered toilets, male and female toilets, and we do have some non-gendered toilets out near the art room as well. So for our male students, they will encounter the urinal in the male toilets there. So please make sure that they know how to use a urinal. Again, go out and practice over the holidays and remind them to always flush, also how to open and close and lock the door, and then how to flush, go and wash their hands before they come back into the classroom as well. So just practicing and reminding them of that routine. Obviously throughout the day, and especially at the start of the year, there are lots of reminders and lots of toilet breaks that happen. So, we will remind them and take them out to the toilets and encourage them to go there. Another one is getting dressed independently. We know that little people can get really frustrated when they're trying to do up a zip or do up some buttons, or whether they're putting their shoes and socks back on if they've taken them off for some reason. So please help them practice getting dressed, taking on and off the jumpers, doing up buttons and zips, even showing them where their name is written on the uniform item is also important, because obviously everyone's jumper or hat looks the same, so making sure that they know where their name is written on their clothing item. That will potentially save you a lot of money in the long run. They're more likely to be able to bring home their items if they know where they are and what they look like. Hats, as Freeman mentioned, we do need to wear our hats from September the 1st through to April the 30th. And we do encourage all of our students to wear a hat, otherwise they need to go and sit under the shaded areas. And we do have, you might have seen them, the students leave their hats here at school. So they're not taking them home each day, so they're less likely to forget it. So it's here and they all just know where it is on their hook. Again, with their school bag, there's lots of different little compartments in their school bag, so helping your child become familiar with their school bag is really important, making sure that they know where they've got their lunchbox, their reader bag, the spare pair of knickers or jocks that you'll put in there just in case, because accidents do happen, and any other items that they need to have in their school bag, just again, and maybe putting a little bag tag on the bag that makes it stand out, or the child knows that's my bag tag there with a little Pikachu key ring on it. Again, just a reminder, do label everything. Really, really important. Some children might find it a bit challenging at the start to separate from you when they're starting school. That's okay, that's normal. Please try and be positive and encouraging while still validating their feelings of, I feel like I'm never going to see you again. Okay, so make sure that they understand that's normal to feel like that. I'm going to miss you too, but I can't wait to pick you up at the end of the day and hear about something funny that happened or something interesting that you learnt about today. You can have a little practice between now and when they start school, sending them off on play dates with other friends, They might want to go and have, dinner at someone else's house, or they might want to have a sleepover, and get friends to come and visit over at your house as well, and try and develop those connections and experiences where, they might need to navigate some conflict or some things with another child where they're not both wanting to do the same thing, and you're there to structure and support them through that, or the other parent at the other houses as well. So developing the social and emotional skills of the children is really important in our foundation program, and I'll talk a little bit more in our wellbeing section as well. We value establishing skills and routines that make the day flow really nicely for the students, and we aim really high from day one, and we want our students to be happy, connected and successful here at Aspendale. We use lots of different games and circle time opportunities for the students to get to know each other and to build up that rapport really quickly, as well as getting to know each other's names so that they know who to call out to in the playground. Instead of saying, "Hey you, do you want to come and play?" They can say, "Hey Tom, let's go play golf." I would never say that.
I just stayed in my seat. I was about to go grab a coffee.
We provide lots of opportunities for our students to get to know each other really quickly, and for them to settle into the learning throughout the day and practicing those skills of getting along, sharing, being respectful and listening to one another. Just a few things to keep in mind. So I think, like I said before, don't be too concerned. Don't be concerned if your child comes home really tired. That's normal. There's lots of new learning happening, so it can be exhausting for them. So try not to plan too many afternoon activities, because they might just want to come home and chill out for a while. It can be an emotional time. That's normal and understandable as well. Again, lots of new learning, new place, new people, new routines. Reassure your child, make sure that they understand that it's normal to feel a little unsure, and just because something is new or different doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad thing. It can be really exciting and something to look forward to. Smile even if you want to cry. Hold it in until you get around the corner after you've said goodbye to them, and then you can have your little cry around there. I used to go cry in the car when I dropped my child at childcare. Routines, getting kids to bed nice and early is also really important, so that they wake up fresh and ready for the next day. And I already said that one. Oh, stillness. I'm just going to go through the wellbeing part of the presentation. So this is our wellbeing team here at Aspendale. So there's myself up there as a wellbeing leader. Then we have Leanne Peterson, who is our wellbeing learning specialist, and Jess Johnson, who is our inclusion leader. So our wellbeing team supports our students across the school in developing inclusive classrooms for students with additional learning needs, disabilities or behavioural or social requirements. And I'll talk through some of the specific supports a little later on. Freeman spoke earlier about volunteers and helping at our school. So we take our child safe standards really seriously here. As he said, if you want to come and volunteer in our classrooms, you do need to have a current Working with Children's check and take part in our induction program. So we do have a whole school approach to wellbeing, and we aim to develop lifelong learners who can care for themselves and others and the community around them. So we foster this through the frameworks of positive behaviour for learning, so we call that PBL here. Zones of regulation, respectful relationships, restorative practices, and through providing inclusive classrooms. So positive behaviour for learning outlines the behavioural expectations we have here at Aspendale Primary School. The framework allows for a consistent approach from classroom to classroom, but also from year to year as the children progress through the school. Students are encouraged with explicitly taught pro-social skills, and they enjoy the positive acknowledgements through our token system. So there is a handbook about PBL that you can have a little read through as well. One of the other strategies that we use is the Respectful Relationships program, and Aspendale is proud to be a Respectful Relationships lead school. So we have a streamlined approach from foundation through to year 6 in teaching the different topics through the Respectful Relationships curriculum. Another school-wide strategy that we have is our zones of regulation. So the zones is an approach used to teach self-regulation and emotional understanding. It helps students become more aware of and have an understanding of their own emotions, and identify and implement different strategies to use and to improve their ability to problem solve different conflict situations that they might find themselves in, or if they're just feeling a little overwhelmed or unsure of what they could do next, whether it be in the classroom or out in the playground. We talk about the zones in a really positive way. We don't look at like the red zone as a negative zone to be in. There's different, we all feel emotions, so there's different ways that we can manage and deal with that. And giving our students specific strategies is a really important step in learning as well. And our last one, this is the social thinking curriculum is a new inclusion to our Who We Are unit of inquiry that the foundation team have implemented this year. It complements our other programs and our other strategies that we have within our wellbeing framework. So again, it's just focusing on helping the students to understand themselves and others, developing self-awareness, perspective, and those problem-solving skills as well. So that's a program that will happen again next year in the foundation area. That is it from, I think it's over to you, Lucy.
Aspendale Primary School, I thought I could have another go. We're proud to be an International Baccalaureate World School, so that means that we deliver what's called the Primary Use Program as our framework for teaching and learning. Ultimately, what we're aiming for is for our students to get a really good understanding of themselves as a person, as a learner, and where they fit into their local and global communities. The IBPYP, it's an internationally renowned framework where our teachers have all gone through lots of professional learning to be able to deliver the framework, and it's something that's continually audited by them. So we were authorised in 2018, and we went through a review process last year as well. So through that they highlighted lots of things we're doing well and the next things for us to work on. So PYP is made up of 5 elements. So the first element is transdisciplinary themes. So across each year level, the kids will work through 6 units of inquiry. In foundation, they work through 4 units of inquiry. So these are the The big ideas that they're working through the transdisciplinary themes. Each one has a descriptor, and over their time in our school they build their understanding of each one. It's called transdisciplinary because a unit of inquiry should flow across the subjects. So they will find that some of their literacy, some of their numeracy might tie into their unit of inquiry. It also ties through into history, science, other elements of the curriculum, and our specialist teachers will also tie into units of inquiry. In each of these units of inquiry, the students take what's called a conceptual lens to explore the knowledge that they're looking into, to explore their central idea. So these are some of the key concepts up on the board. As I said, we're trying to develop the students as learners as they're at the school, and to really get a good understanding of themselves, and to leave after their time with us as being well-rounded people. So that's we do that by trying to develop what are called the learner profile attributes over their time here. And as well as learning to be a learner, it's also how a learner behaves. So we're trying to develop these approaches to learning. So these are key skills which will help them both in their learning journey, but also should help them in their lives too. Through a unit of inquiry, we're also hoping to inspire some form of action in our kids. So these are 5 types of action which students might take. Often when we talk about PYP at this level, we can sound like we're speaking another language. So the best bit is to hand back over to Lucy, and she can show you what it looks like in Foundation, because they do some pretty impressive stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Tom said, we have our transdisciplinary themes. The children in Foundation engage in 4 units of inquiry, whereas from years 1 to 6 they have 6 units. So we have an exploration into who we are, how we express ourselves, how the world works, and sharing the planet. So each unit of inquiry has a central idea, followed by some lines of inquiry and some important key concepts to frame the learning. So, like Tom said, it's a lot of language, so I think the best thing is to show you what this looks like in Foundation, and show you how we facilitate concept-based learning and student investigations in Foundation. So if we look at, for example, at our How the World Works unit of inquiry, our central idea is animals have basic features and needs that enable them to survive. And they have 3 lines of inquiry to inquire into: the physical features of animals, the movements of animals, and animal diets. And there's all alongside some important key concepts. So in terms of, as a school, we approach a guided inquiry approach, and we have an inquiry cycle that we use to scaffold our learning, and students move through these stages, and these are some visuals that your children would be used to interacting with through a cycle of inquiry. So this is just a snapshot of some of the learning that might take place within a cycle of inquiry, and it's not necessarily, you might go backwards, forward and across, and the students' questions are embedded within the unit of inquiry as well. So as Tom said, with it being transdisciplinary, for example, in this unit, there's a really strong focus on non-fiction text types and informative writing. So throughout all stages of our units of inquiry, we want to get students thinking through provocations and a range of learning experiences, and we provide the students in opportunities to engage with all those meaningful concepts as well. It's really important that we're embedding student voice and valuing their questions and wonderings in our units of inquiry. So while we have the same central ideas and lines of inquiry, they look slightly different each year based on the questions that the children are coming up with. But it's a skill, asking the questions, and one that's also specific to the unit of inquiry. So we are providing students a scaffold through something called a question sort routine, where we're giving them the support to evaluate, does my question offer, is it quite narrow, does it give me few opportunities to inquire into, or lots, and then we can choose some questions that will drive the learning in the unit, And students are also given the opportunity to see where do their individual wonderings fit in, or if they don't in those driving questions, how else we could investigate them. As I'm sure Tom or Amelia would have mentioned in the school tours, we adopt a play-based approach to learning, and their students are continually provided with a range of provocations, experiences and scaffolds so that they are engaging with those driving questions of the unit. While there is that play-based learning happening, it is deliberate and specific in the skills that we're teaching for inquiry. So it would be developing communication skills, thinking skills, social skills, alongside many others. So if we looked more specifically, for example, at research skills, what this might look like in foundation is needing to teach them the skills necessary to conduct that inquiry. So it could be sorting data and information, learning how to record our findings through scaffolds, evaluating information and how we could communicate our ideas to others. So as a school, we're really deliberate with the language that we use, and we do value listening to and building on students' ideas. So some of the language you might include is, we've done our thinking together, now it's time to do our independent thinking, it makes me wonder, and what makes you say that. So we're also now going to have a look, while we are IB PYP school, we still teach the Victorian and report against the Victorian curriculum. So in terms of our literacy program, there is an interrelationship between reading and viewing, writing and speaking and listening, and these strands are taught explicitly in foundation and through engaging activities daily. So they're embedded into our units of inquiry where possible, and they're allowing students to develop these skills in meaningful context. So in terms of speaking and listening, it's more than just getting up the front and doing a presentation to their class or telling us what we did on the weekend. A really big component is developing oral language skills and vocabulary, as it's an essential skill in learning to read and write. So we're looking at rich opportunities to develop a range of skills across the school day. So the ability to communicate clearly in different contexts, developing phonics and sound knowledge by listening to the sounds in words, as well as building up to a short presentation to the class. So another speaking and listening opportunity your children will have the opportunity to engage in is through circle time, and they can express their ideas, the importance of taking turns, building on others' ideas, and the skill of active listening. So in terms of phonics at Aspendale, phonological awareness is a crucial skill to develop in children. So it is strongly linked to reading and spelling success through its association with phonics. So it's a focus of our literacy teaching, and we're incorporating recognising phonological patterns such as rhyme and alliteration, looking at awareness of syllables and individual sounds in words, as well as building on the skills progressively get harder. So we would start with rhyme and which is our larger unit, sound to more specific individual sounds in words. So this is really important in their ability to learning to read and spell. So we have a phonics and word knowledge program, and our phonics is really systematic and explicit, and we have a defined content in a specified order. And this matches important milestones in learning to read and spell words. So students are engaged in these units. They might start, everyone would, for example, start in the alphabetic principle, and through ongoing assessments and monitoring of student learning, they may start with their classroom teacher and then have the opportunity to work in the different units with different teachers across the year level. So assessments are continually used to give feedback to parents and also to monitor their trajectory within these units for our phonics. So each session is very predictable for the students, and it scaffolds the essential skills and language to provide targeted activities that do support the development of these reading and spelling skills. So we've commenced with a review component of previously taught letter sound correspondences or words, moving into that phonological and phonemic awareness where we're listening to the sounds in words over seeing the letters, giving students the opportunity to apply their letter sound knowledge to read words, and then moving into a spelling component as well. So there's a lot of differentiation based on where the students are up to. In terms of high frequency words, or you might have heard sight words, we introduce the words in banks so that students are continually making connections between words when they're reading and spelling. So if you go to Kmart or Officeworks, they might sell high frequency words or sight words. It's not necessarily the order that we would teach them in. So we bank groups based on a spelling pattern that they share, not necessarily alphabetical order. So we analyse words that have irregular or rare spelling patterns, as this is where children can encounter the difficulties in reading or spelling. And we look at how we can group words with those similar patterns together. So obviously over time we want students to be able to recognise these words fluently, spell them with ease, but we do want them to have those skills to make connections between words. So finally, your students you'll get a list of the words that we cover in Foundation. It's also communicated through weekly emails, but we have a letter and sound ring, which is a great way to practice through games at home. When we're teaching it in class, we're focusing vowel phonemes and consonant sounds in words and really drawing attention to words that have a rare or irregular spelling pattern. So it's really important that we're practicing these at home as well, so students can apply it to their with growing confidence to their reading and their spelling. So Chloe's just going to go through the what reading looks like in Foundation.
Thank you very much. Right, in our reading sessions, we explore and explicitly teach the habits and strategies of being good readers. So this assists us in being able to comprehend texts, accurately decode unknown words, improve their fluency and smooth reading, and also expand their vocabulary. So all of these strategies are important and interconnected, and they're revisited and strengthened throughout the rest of their primary school experience as well. So as we explore different strategies, we're going to actually be sending home tips and different discussion points that you can revisit with your child at home and reinforce when you're reading together as well. So our reading sessions in Foundation, one component of them would be modelled or shared reading. So that includes the students listening to a text read aloud by the teacher, and the teacher will introduce the text and explicitly model the reading behaviours that we're looking for at that current time. There's usually a specific focus, such as practicing a specific comprehension strategy or learning to decode unknown words. There's also the student exploration component as well, so they engage in activities that involve responding to the text that we've read aloud, or it could be practicing a new strategy on their own text as well. Another component of our reading sessions is also our individual reading conferences. So students also engage in one-to-one reading conferences with their teachers on a weekly basis. So this provides us teachers with a clear picture of their current reading abilities and also gives us the time to work on individualised goals for them. And then we also conclude our sessions with a sharing and reflection component where children can share their discoveries that they've made in the session. So it's essential that the children are reading at home every night as well to really help consolidate the classroom program. They'll be taking home 5 books a week, so on a Friday they'll get 5 fresh books. We do not expect you to read all 5 books every night. 1 book would be great if they're short, maybe 2 or 3 as well. The readers can come in a lot of different forms as well. So in the beginning of the year it might be things like nursery rhymes or books that they've written themselves with our help, or even just decodable readers as well, these little ones up here. As Lucy mentioned, they'll also be getting their high frequency words or sounds on a ring for them to help to practice at home. You can turn them into games or just practicing the sight recognition as well. So we do send them home when we're doing them as well. We add them to the rings as they're being explored in the class, not just, like Lucy said, as a long list for them to memorise. We also encourage your children to read familiar texts over and over just to help improve their confidence and also to improve their fluency when they're reading and make it sound nice and smooth. We try to encourage pause, prompt and praise when you're reading with your child. You have to give them a lot of thinking time to let them have a go at a word before you're going to tell them what it is, because it's very important for them development to have a go. On to our writing session. So writing can be very overwhelming for children as they start school. It's a very big thing to be able to do. So our primary focus for writing sessions is really just encouraging them to have a go. So they're learning that their ideas can be recorded in a written format and that our spoken sounds and words can be written down as well. So as they learn their letter sound relationships, they'll be able to begin to use these more independently in their writing. So each writing session will have a focus, just like the reading sessions, and your children would be working on individualised goals as well. So it's not always going to be just on their spelling or just on their letter formation. It can be a variety of things. We also use the Vic modern cursive writing, so we do explicit handwriting sessions as well as reinforcing this in their regular writing as well. On to maths. So our maths program and instruction is systematic and explicit, and it has defined content taught in a specified order to match important milestones in number and algebra, measurement and geometry, and also statistics and probability. So we keep our maths curriculum engaging, and the students are using materials to develop their conceptual understanding and build their fluency and accuracy, and also be able to apply these to different contexts as well. Too many things to hold. There we go. In terms of the number and algebra curriculum, we place a strong emphasis on developing number sense and promoting an understanding of pattern and structure within our number system, so that students can develop their problem-solving capacity and fluency when working with different operations as well. So at Aspendale, we've placed a really strong emphasis on the big ideas in number over the past few years. So a big idea is a statement of an idea that is central to the learning of mathematics, one that links numerous mathematical understandings into a coherent whole. So our staff has undertaken quite a lot of professional development to be able to build our understanding of the big ideas in number so that we can help the students become very efficient maths learners. So in foundation, the big idea in number that we focus on is the ability to trust the count. So trusting the count refers to a learner's capacity to... I knew I could hear something, but I wasn't sure what it was. That's a tomorrow problem, that's okay. That's fine. So trusting the count refers to learners' capacity to recognise collections that are arranged in different orders, so subitising or subitizing. Having access to mental models for each of the numbers without having to physically...
We're watching it slowly go.
I might just...
That's the worst. That's it.
Should be hopefully okay now. It's a very serious topic, I'm talking about maths. So without having to see, count a collection, they're able to understand the parts that make up that number, demonstrate a sense of numbers beyond 10 as well, and use small collections to count larger numbers, counting in units. Sorry. You may be thinking, oh, my child can already count to 10 or can count way beyond 10, but we're making sure that we're aiming to develop a really sound understanding of what each number represents and how they're connected to each other as well. So when students read, write or hear the number 7, they can imagine what 7 objects looks like in their head and how 7 is related to other number, how it's 4 and 3 or 2 and 5, which is a lot more than just being able to count in sequence. Our measurement and geometry strand covers a variety of different content areas as well. The geometry component of it focuses on developing students' understanding of shapes, so 2D shapes, 3D shapes, and also location, being able to describe position and movement as well. And measurement includes being able to identify different measurement attributes, so length, mass, capacity, and being able to compare these and use everyday language like taller, shorter, all of these things. And also just going on. Also covers things like the duration of time and using everyday language as well to represent that measurement, like days, weeks, day, week. We've also got the last maths strand, which is statistics and probability. So in this strand, we begin exposing the children to the basics of collecting different information and data. So they're learning how to ask yes and no questions to collect this information, how they can organise this data that they've collected into basic displays so they can see, and interpret the data that they've collected to be able to make inferences based on what they've collected. So that's all for the curriculum. I'll hand back over to Tom for our specialist subjects.
As well as spending lots of time in the foundation classrooms, our students also go to 5 specialist subjects. So one of them is Chinese Mandarin, where Miss Ma works with our students to not only introduce them to language but also to culture throughout their time with her at our school. Our newest subject is STEM, so Mr McCaffrey's been teaching that this year, and they started off the year doing some work with the Design Technologies curriculum. The middle 2 terms they did some work with the science curriculum, and at the moment they're doing some digital technology work. This all enhances what they do in the classroom. Visual arts is either with Mrs Hale or Ms Titterman, and the students do lots of work with different mediums, including painting, weaving and sculpting. In PE with Mrs Scott, the kids work through what are called the fundamental motor skills, so being able to move their arms and legs to hit, kick, run, all the different things they need to be able to keep doing sport, as well as lots and lots of games to help them have lots of fun. And then they also spend time in the performing arts room with either Miss Matthews or Miss Titterman, where they'll work through drama, dance and music. We're very lucky at the school to have a big bank of musical instruments. When they start off in prep, they work through percussion, through prep 1 and 2, and then in 3 and 4 they'll start to play some instruments with notes like xylophone or recorder. That's always a joy. And then when they get through to 5, 6, they'll be playing some corded instruments like guitars or keyboards. You're really good listeners. Thank you very much for listening to us. We're really good talkers, so thank you for your patience. Did anyone have any questions? Or all together?
Actually, sorry, I was going to say, go on. I was going to say a very silly question. Boy, mentioned urinals. Is there any other option there, or is just urinals there?
There's a cubicle in the toilet.
No, are they like, no. Ample required for the kids, or do they have to use the urinals?
No, there's lots of kids that will use the cubicle. I suppose it just saves them having to wait because there's probably 4 positions at the urinal.
Silly question, I know.
No, it's a good question.
Do all students attend all 4 Tuesday sessions?
Yes.
Yes, for the transition session, yeah.
Yes. Is it an issue if we can't because we're away from the school?
No, that's okay if you just let Lucy know and she'll liaise with you.
Oh, thank you.
Do the
Yeah,
parents,
sorry.
do the parents also attend the those 4 Tuesday sessions?
No, so if you drop the children off at, we said 9:15, and then the session finishes at 10:15. So if you come back then, and then we'll have them ready to go. It can be you, it can also be another member of your family to drop them off, that's fine.
Just with your SunSmart and sunscreen, do you guys have sunscreen for the kids, or should we put one in their bag?
Lucy.
Probably best to have one in the bags just based on ingredients and some, just so we know that there's no, sorry,
Or apply
so we do have like a class one, but it's also probably that
Just apply it before you come. That's what we did. And then they can top up if there's lunchtime as well.
Yes.
And is it compulsory to buy communication folders?
the communication folders definitely. So this is what's falling over. This was the chair bag, so they sit on the back of the kids' chairs, so they don't have a tub where their books are kept and their individual resources. And then the communication folder, I'm not liking it, but that's used to transport all the books to and from school and notices. So that one's important so that their work is protected and notices and the school resources as well. So one of the chair bags to keep their classroom supplies in, and one for the communication folder, which is like an A4 size, that sits in the back of their bag to and from school.
When will notifications start on the central app? When should we have access to that?
Good question. I'd have to follow up with the office because I had a new student start in one of the senior year levels on Monday, and I was trying to find them on Central, and they hadn't appeared on Monday morning. So I'm not sure exactly when your child appears on the Central app. At the moment, Lucy's got a distribution list that she's pushing the emails out through. We can follow that one up and we can pop it in the next communication.
Yeah. She'll need an access key to get onto the about that.
Yeah, we normally send them out at the start of the year. I think we had them out on the first day of school.
Okay.
Thanks very much for coming along this evening. Thank you also for, this is our first time being back in person, so it's lovely to be back in person and have a live audience. We've been on screens and doing all the other lateral thinking of the past few years. Thank you also for your patience with the sun, because we haven't had it in here before and we haven't had the sun yet, so we'll either have a different location or we'll buy everyone sunglasses. Thank you very much for coming along. We will hang around for a bit after, so if you do have questions this evening you'd like to come and chat with us about, please do. Or if you think of them after, send Lucy an email, or if you see us at pick up or drop off, or even next Tuesday during the transition session, Amelia and myself will be out again as well. So thanks again for you to coming out. We look forward to continuing to work with you, and thanks to our team for coming out this evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening.